Okay, so I know my connection went, so I'll just make a video. So we're doing area and volume, so it's all the shapes that we're doing. So the square, the triangle, the circle, the sphere, the sector, parallelogram, prism, cylinder, cuboid, and rectangle. So what I'm going to concentrate on today is the square, the rectangle, and the triangle. Okay, so then you have your logbook. So they give you the parallelogram and the circle, the triangle. They'll say area is half AH. Okay, so we'll be using in our course. They give you the sector, they give you the track here to the logbook. You angle, and they give you the cylinder and the sphere. Okay, so there's a couple of ones that you have to learn off that is not in the logbook. Okay, so I think I had this done before we got cut off this morning, but just to quickly go through it again. So when you're going from millimetres to centimetres, you divide by 10. If you're going from centimetres to metres, you divide by 100. And if you're going from metres to kilometres, you're dividing by 1,000. If you're going the other way around, then kilometres to metres, you must multiply by 1,000. Metres to centimetres, multiply by 100. And then centimetres to millimetres, you must multiply by 10. And just say if they asked you to change millimetres to kilometres, well then you have to change to kilometres or centimetres first, metres, and then kilometres. You can't go straight from millimetres to kilometre. You have to change them. Divided by 10, then divided by 100, then divided by 1,000. Okay, so we're going to go through three shapes today, and it's a rectangle, square, and a triangle, and we're going to find the area and perimeter of both of them. Now, what is the area? The area is the amount of flat space that a shape occupies, and the perimeter is the sum of the length of all the sides. Now, the units of an area will always be unit squares. So just say they give you the dimensions of a rectangle and they were in millimetres, then when you're writing the area, it'll always be in millimetres squared, centimetres squared, or metres squared. For a perimeter, you don't have the square, it's just millimetres, centimetres, or metres, whatever units they give you. So for a rectangle, so we know what a rectangle is, okay? So the area is just length by width. So you multiply the length by the width, and sometimes the width can be called the breadth. So sometimes you'll see that written down as L by B, okay? So length by breadth. Now, the perimeter is where you have to add up all the sides. So if you're adding up this side, it would be a length plus a W plus a length plus a W. So it would be L plus W plus W. So how many L's do I have? 2L plus how many W's? 2 W's. So that's where they get the formula 2L plus 2W. Or you could just factor out the 2 and write it as L plus W. A square, okay, so a square, the area for a square is just simply length squared, and a perimeter, you add up all the sides, so it's length plus length plus length plus length. To shorten it would be 4L. So these are not in the logbook. The rectangle and the square you have to learn, okay, but the triangle is in your logbook. So the perimeter is the length of all the three sides. So you just add up this side, and this side. So you just add them up. And then the area is half the base by the perpendicular height. Now be careful, it has to be the perpendicular height, not any of the slants heights. And the base is always perpendicular to the height. So the base would always be perpendicular to the height. So base and height. So it's the perpendicular height. Okay, so then we are looking for the area and perimeter of this square. So the first thing you got to do is you write down the formula. So the first is area. So the area of a square is L squared, and then you just sub in for your L. So the length is 5, so that is 5 squared, which would give me 25, and area is always in units squared, and the units in this case was centimetres squared. Next one they want is the perimeter. So the perimeter of a square is 4L. So it is 4 times 5, which is 20, and perimeter is always in the units, they give you 20 centimetres. Okay, so then finding the area and perimeter of this rectangle. So then we just write down the formula for the area of a rectangle. So the area of a rectangle is length by breadth, and then just sub in. So the length is 9 centimetres by 2 centimetres. So that would give me 18 centimetres squared. And then looking for the perimeter of a rectangle. So the perimeter of a rectangle is 2L plus 2B, because you're adding up all the sides. So it's 2 times 9 plus 2 times 2 for the breadth. So 2 times 9 is 18. So that would give me 18 plus 4, which will give me 22 centimetres. Okay, so for this two examples then we're dealing with a triangle. So it says find the perimeter of each of the following triangles. So the first thing we do then is we do the perimeter of A. Do part A, and it's the perimeter. So we know for the perimeter you just add up all the sides. So for the perimeter then I'd be adding up 6.4 plus 5 plus 8. So that would give me 19.4 centimetres. And then the area. So the area of a triangle is half AH. Now that is in your logbooks. So it's half the base by the perpendicular height. So our base in this case is 8, but our perpendicular height is 4. So it's always the perpendicular height. So it's 8 by 4. So that would give me a half of 8 by 4, which would give me 16, and area is always centimetres squared. Doing the exact same then for part B, they want us to get the perimeter. So perimeter is you add up all the sides. So the perimeter for that guy then would be 10 plus 26 plus 24. So 10 plus 26 plus 24 is 60 millimetres. And then for the area, write down the formula again, it's a half of AH. So in this case, it is a half. The base is 24 and the height is 10. So that gives me 120 millimetres, and area is always squared. So this example here says find the area of this shape. Okay, so we call this an irregular shape. So we must convert it into shapes that we know. Now you could do this 2 or 3 ways, okay? So I'm going to show you both 3 ways, but just to say that you'll get the same answer whatever way you divide it up with. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to draw my line here, okay? So I'm just going to draw my line here. And then I have made 2 shapes here now. So we'll say the red is, we'll say, my second shape, and my blue now would be my first shape. Okay, so if I get the area of both 1 and 2, then I'll be able to add them and get the area of the whole shape. Okay, so the area of 1 then you can see is a rectangle, so it's a length by breadth. So that will give me 10 by 4, which is 40. Okay, so it's 10 by 4, which is 40. Shape 2 again is a rectangle, so we get the area of that. So number 2 then it would be a rectangle, so it's length by breadth. So they gave us the length, we can see it is 6, so we just sub in that. So 6 by, now the breadth, okay, we've no value here. Now we know that the whole lot would add up to 7. We know to here is 4. In a rectangle, rectangle opposite sides are equal. So then this section here is 4. So 4 plus what would make 7, so it has to be 3. So then it's going to be 6 by 3, which is 18. And then the total you add 1 plus 2. So that will give me 40 plus 18 to give you a total area of 58 centimetres squared. Now I'm just going to move up this way. And if I divided it the other way, okay, you still get the same answer. So this time I'm going to put my division line here. Okay, and then I've divided into 1 and 2 shapes. So we're going to get the area of 1 that I'll do in red. Okay, so the area of 1 then is going to be length by breadth. So length by breadth here is 7 by 6, which is 42. And I'm going to add on the length of 2. So 2 here then is what I'm doing in green. So again here now we have 4. Okay, so I know the breadth, don't know the length. I know that the whole lot is 10. To here is 6. So this has to be 4 as well. So just put in that guy here, has to be 4. So that is 4 by 4, which will give me 16. And adding 42 and 16, I'll still get my 58 centimetres squared. Okay, some people like to make the full rectangle. What I mean by that is you make your full rectangle here and then take this guy out of it. All right, so then we're going to minus that little guy. So if I was getting the length of the whole lot, okay, so I might do that now actually, instead of doing it in black, so you highlight it, see it in a different colour. If I get the area of the whole lot, then we know it is 10 by 7. So that is 10 by 7. So that is 10 by 7, which is 70. And I'm going to minus this little guy here in black. Okay, so we're missing the length and breadth of here, so we can fill it in. If the whole lot, we'll say breadth is 7 and here is 4, so this guy has to be 3. The length of the whole lot is 6, so this is 4. So that means we're minusing 4 by 3, which is 12, which will give me 58 centimeters squared. So whichever way you divide it, whichever way you like to do these irregular shapes, you will still get the same answer. Whatever way you divide it into your two shapes, that you'll be able to do length by breadth and then either add the two or subtract, depending on which way you divided it. Okay, so in this example, they want us to find the area of the shaded region. So the shaded region is the region here now in pink. Now, to get any shaded region, you must get the total area minus the unshaded part. So the total shape, okay, so the total area, and then you minus the unshaded part. Now, if you just see up here, then they said they said give your answers in centimeters squared. Okay, so all our units must be in centimeters. So for the unshaded part, we can see that it's centimeters and centimeters. But for the total length and breadth, we have 1 meter and 1.2 meter. So we get the area of the total shape first of all, and then we must minus the area of the unshaded part. So the total shape minus the unshaded. Okay, now we want them all in centimeters. So this guy up here is 1 meter, and then the breadth is 1.2 meters. So then this would give me 100 centimeters and 120 centimeters. And then we have the 70 centimeters and the 80 centimeters here. So the area of the total shape then is going to be length by breadth, which is 100 centimeters by 120 centimeters, which will give me 12,000 centimeters squared, minus the area of the unshaded part, which is a rectangle, which is length by breadth. So that would give me 70 by 80, which is centimeters, which will give me 5,600 centimeters squared. So the area then of the unshaded part, then you just take 12 centimeters minus 5,600, 12,000 centimeters minus 5,600 centimeters squared, which will give me 6,400 centimeters squared. So doing another example where we must find the area of the shaded region. So we know to get the area of any shaded region, we must get the area of the total. So the total then in this case is a rectangle, okay? So it's going to be area of rectangle. So it's going to be area of rectangle minus the area of the unshaded part, which is a triangle. So it's area of triangle we must take out, okay? So this is the unshaded part. So then you write down the formulas for the area of a rectangle is always length by breadth minus area of rectangle is a half A by H. So it's just a matter of filling it in then. So length by breadth for the rectangle is 20 centimeters by 16 centimeters. So that works out to be 320 centimeters squared, minus a half times the base of that triangle is 12 and the height is 9. So a half of 12, which is 6, and 6 by 9, which is 54 centimeters squared. So taking 54 centimeters squared from 320 centimeters squared would give me 266 centimeters squared. So remember, to get the area of a shaded region, you must get the area of the full shape, okay, the total shape, and then minus the area of the unshaded part. Okay, so this one then is working backwards with our formula. So here they said that the area of a square is 225. So the minute you see area of a square, you're going to write down the formula. So we know that the area for a square is L squared. And they told you is 225, so is equal to 225. So then it says find the length of each side. So then L is equal to get rid of a square, we do the opposite. So it's the square root. So then that would be the square root of 225. So the length here is 15. So that is part A. And then part B, they asked us to find the perimeter of a square. So now our shape is our perimeter of the show. This is our square, and we now know it is 15 and 15. So then the perimeter of a square, so write down the formula for the perimeter of a square. That's the one that you have to learn off. So perimeter, you add up all the sides. So it's 4 by L. So then you sub in your 15 for your length. So it's 4 by L, which is 60, and perimeter is always whenever units, so it wasn't centimeters, this time they give us meters. Okay, so working with one of those ones where they said the area, this time of a rectangle. Okay, so if you wanted to draw it out, and they said that the area here of this guy is 72. The length is 9 kilometers. Okay, so the length is 9 kilometers. Find the width. So the width is the same as the breadth, and find the perimeter of the rectangle. Okay, so we write down area of rectangle, which we know is length by breadth, which is equal to 72. And then we fill in what we know. Well, we know that the length is 9, so it's 9 times b is equal to 72. So that's 9b is equal to 72. So b is equal to 72 divided by 9. So the breadth or the width would be 8 centimeters. Then they asked us for the perimeter. So then you always write down the formula. So the perimeter of a rectangle, again, it's the one that you need to know. It's 2 length plus 2 times the breadth, and then just fill in for the length and the breadth. So all we need to, the length they told us was 9, and we got the breadth to be 8. So that would give me 2 times 9, which is 18, plus 2 times 8, which is 16. So that would give me the perimeter to be 34 centimeters. And doing a final one then where you're given the area and looking for a missing side. So this one here now, they said the area of the triangle. So they said area of triangles, you must always write down the formula. So the area of the triangle is a half AH is equal to 56. So then you sub in, so it's a half times the base, which is 14. The height, we don't know, is equal to 56. So working out then the left hand side, so a half of 14 is 7, and 7 by h is 7h. So I get 7h is equal to 56, and to get h on its own is 56 divided by 7. So 56 divided by 7 will give me the height to be 8 centimeters.